You're the punk I've heard about.
It's been a very long time, like actually a long time, since we've done a top 5, so we're bringing it back and doing a sequel to the top 5 things we've all done list.
Number 10.
At the number 5 spot is pretty much for the ballsy boys, and this is using consumables but not necessarily clicking on them. So you know when you're supposed to use a consumable, you have to click or just use whatever number key it is, and then you're supposed to actually click on the map where you exactly want to place it. Well, I'm pretty sure something that we've all done before is basically do that, but instead of placing it down, you just basically move it around the map or just have it around, because why not? This is something that I do regularly, especially in games that, you know, where they allow me to use my consumables. The more extreme part of this is basically using very expensive and very powerful consumables, like for an example, the Mucha equipped, and just one click is all it takes to essentially use it and just essentially waste a nuke. Like, that is just very, very risky. Just an accidental click, and if you have a broken ass mouse, then you can just never probably do this, because you're probably just gonna waste it on like round 1 or something like that from just absolute bull crap. And it's not as bad when you're using, for an example, regular consumables like grenades or molotovs or even flags, but when you're using more expensive and much more powerful and hard to get consumables, it does feel kind of risky and like butterflies in your stomach from just the fact of one click is all it takes to essentially be down one entire consumable that took you probably months to get.
Number 6.
This is a satisfying list bot, and this is essentially placing down a tower's detection range perfectly on the map's path. You know those map paths that sometimes have those like giant U-turns or just zigzags or whatever that like in giant circles? Well, when you perfectly manage to have one of the towers that have just the size of a radius that matches that exact path thing, I don't know what it is, but there's just something so satisfying when they perfectly just align with one another. It just looks so satisfying when the range and also the paths design just perfectly match one another with no mistakes. Now, something else that I want to go ahead and mention is that there's a lot of people who just place down towers just on opposite ends of the maps. Now, I'm pretty sure we've all done that before, but that's mainly like newbies doing it, and for some reason I still see people doing that, not placing them like inside of the path or like, you know, where most of your troops are supposed to be, but more or less on the outsides of the paths where literally they aren't able to get much value. I don't know why people still do that nowadays. Either way, placing down a troops detection range zone, whatever it is, that is perfectly, just perfectly on the path, just kind of itches some sort of sweet spot on your body that just makes it so satisfying to actually look at. Now, it kind of does ruin it when you upgrade your troop and, you know, it gets bigger and much more wider than, well, the path itself, but at least it was fun while it lasted. And goddamn, there are so many maps where there are these like circle things where you perfectly place it on there, and it just looks so satisfying, I just gotta be honest.
Number 7.
Okay, this is quite honestly an obvious one, but this is essentially purchasing every single crate in the shop. I don't know many people out there who just basically don't purchase every single chest. Well, I'm kind of one of those people. I don't really have every single crate in the shop, or at least purchase them, mainly because I just don't want the skins or whatever. Essentially having crates that you are most likely having every skin of, or just wanting to save them in the future. I don't know what it is, but it's a lot more satisfying to have, you know, a crate that is more lit up than just grayed out looking like you basically need to purchase it. And this is much more satisfying when you have, for an example, holiday only crates. Like for an example, I have the Christmas and the Halloween one. Now, I'm sure that there's other crates that I don't have because I'm obviously not an OG, so there's probably more rarer crates out there, and just having that in your inventory, or at least just in the shop, just makes it so like rewarding that you have something that basically not many other people have. Having every single crate basically purchased and just lit up, basically knowing that you can just essentially open them up at any time, just kind of looks very satisfying. I don't know what it is, just having crates that are just ready to go to open at any moment, but also just being able to look at the crates details in and of itself instead of, well, just a grayed out and then just a caption saying, oh, you need to actually purchase this with money or Robux. There's just something so like fascinating about it, but also essentially the golden crates, since they are crazy expensive at 50k. And just having one on the side ready to go whenever they release another one, which if they ever will, a golden tower, just makes it so cool.
Number 14.
I'm pretty sure we've all done this, especially when we're so insanely bored on this game, but this is just exploring the lobby, because why not? Now, I mentioned something like this in the previous episode where I basically said that when we're so bored, we just look at our tower's skins and we just, you know, navigate through them, do a little basic tour guide on every single old and new skins we have and likable skins. Well, this is basically the second sequel to it, where you just explore the lobby, look at the towers, or at least the bosses, I guess, designs, models, where they at, and probably even some developer statues that were once there. I don't know what it is, but at least there was something to do there, but like, I guess there's really not much to look at. I mean, yes, I just have to be honest, they did put a lot of work in there, like making the lobbies and stuff like that, so I kind of have to give it up on them. But I'm pretty sure we've all been so bored too, where we don't necessarily want to hop off of TDS at that moment, and not exactly want to play a match at that exact moment. Take a walk around the entire map, just trying to see what's new and maybe any secrets that might be around any corners. But I'm pretty sure this is essentially something that we've all done when, you know, we are just very much bored on TDS, looking at your skins, shops, and stuff like that. But more or less what I'm saying is, looking at the lobby, sure, it is a little bit of just a weird thing to do from every now and again. This is something everyone does when you're essentially very bored in the game, but don't necessarily want to hop off, but you just want something to do. And I guess walking around does kind of make you exercise for a bit.
Number 1.
Check this out.
We are suppressed emotion!
No one out there who has not done this, and this is essentially placing down your towers' hitbox radius placements right perfectly next to each other. I'm pretty sure this is something that every single one of us does, basically in every single game, or probably even someone out there who doesn't even do that, make some sort of social distancing placements. But this is something that every single one of us does. How satisfying this is to just place a tower right next to each other, just barely hitting one another, and somehow the game allowing us to count this. But what's better is to essentially have, like, for an example, a DJ's hitbox radius be also perfectly matched with everyone else's. This just looks super satisfying. And especially when you're also trying to have like a little bit of a formation or some sort of like team formation, I guess, when you're having a bunch of the same troops side by side to one another in the exact same like direction and also the exact same like position. That just looks super satisfying, and it really does have like a soul crushing thing when you accidentally mess up one troop, because that could also lead to all the other troops also, when you place them down, messing up or just looking really weird. But this is something I'm pretty sure every single one of us does, and this just has some sort of satisfying, excited bone in my body.